The transfers in college basketball have had a huge impact so far this season, and in today's video, I wanted to give my updated ranking of the top transfers in all of college basketball right now. But before we get into the rankings, if you enjoy the content, please consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And now, let's jump into it. And at the top of my rankings at the number 1 spot, I have to go with Yaxel Lendeborg from Michigan because he has been everything for the Wolverines and even more than they hoped for. The UAB transfer has powered the Wolverines' undefeated start so far and is averaging over 15 points and over 7 rebounds per game while consistently delivering in big moments time and time again. He poured in 29 points at Maryland, added 20 and 11 against Gonzaga, and controlled road wins at TCU and Auburn. And with Michigan looking like the most dominant team in the country right now, Lendeborg is performing like a first-team All-American and should remain the engine of a likely number 1 seed as we go throughout the season. Coming in at number 2, I have to go with Bennett Stirtz from Iowa because he has been the heartbeat of that team so far and just about everything for them. He is the lone Hawkeye averaging double figures, posting 16.5 points per game while rarely leaving the floor and basically playing every minute. And Stirtz played all 40 minutes in key wins over Xavier and Ole Miss and combined for 50 points in those games, and his scoring has translated seamlessly from the smaller mid-majors to the Power 5 level. And if Iowa pushes toward the NCAA tournament like I think they will, it'll be because Stirtz continues carrying the offensive load deep into Big Ten play as we've seen so far. And right behind Bennett Stirtz at number 3, I have another guard in Jacoby Gillespie, who has filled a massive void for Tennessee after they lost to Kai Ziegler from last season. The Belmont and now Maryland transfer leads the Vols in scoring at 17.5 points while also dishing over 5.5 assists per game, and he stepped up in some of Tennessee's biggest wins, scoring 23 against Louisville and scoring 22 against Houston while limiting his turnovers as well, and he's been extremely efficient so far. And as SEC play unfolds, Gillespie's ability to control the tempo and deliver in marquee moments will determine just how far this Tennessee team can go this year. Landing at number 4, I have a transfer for Louisville, and that's Ryan Conwell, as he has emerged as the Cardinals' primary scoring option so far, even with Mikel Brown Jr. on the team. The Xavier transfer is averaging over 19 points per game and delivered in big performances with 24 against Kentucky and 21 versus Indiana. And while other transfers search for consistency on Louisville, Conwell has been a constant so far, and if he maintains this near 20-point production, Louisville's offense will remain competitive as conference play tests the Cardinals' depth and shot creation, and I think Conwell has definitely been the best player on Louisville so far this year. And next at number 5, I have to go with Chad Baker-Mazara from USC, as he has carried the Trojans on both ends of the floor actually. The Auburn transfer is averaging over 20 points and 3 assists per game while also anchoring the Trojans' defense, as he's had blocks in 5 straight games. And he erupted for 31 points against San Diego and dropped 34 in a triple overtime win by USC, and was also named the Maui Invitational MVP back in November when they won that. And with Rodney Rice sidelined for the season and the USC team as a whole having a lot of injury problems right now, USC's resume for the rest of the year depends heavily on Baker-Mazara continuing his dominance on both ends of the floor. But right after Baker-Mazara at number 6 is actually the guy that Auburn got to replace him, and that's Keyshawn Hall, and he is playing some of the best basketball we've ever seen for him for the Tigers right now. The do-it-all forward has posted a sparkling 127.7 offensive rating and is the ultimate mismatch hunter for Auburn, and he can shoot over you, he can drive around you, and he can drive through you, and that's all been on display so far this year. And Hall just has so much game and will be one of the SEC's premier scorers all season, and I truly think he's going to be in the conversation for SEC Player of the Year. Coming in at number 7 is Darrion Williams, and Williams has become the point forward that first-year Wolfpack coach Will Wade needed and uses him in a ton of different ways at NC State. Williams' mid-post backdowns are a staple of the NC State offense that ranks 22nd nationally, and he can create mismatches all over the floor, both as a screener or with inverted pick and rolls. And Williams also has been much more assertive in transition and is shooting over 41% from behind the arc right now. And overall, he's been stuffing the stat sheet for the Wolfpack and has had a pretty good season season so far, but I would like to see just a little more from him going forward for NC State. Next at number 9, I have Henri Veesaar from North Carolina. I think he has been one of the most underrated pickups from the transfer portal so far this season, as he has quietly delivered in North Carolina's biggest moments so far. The former Arizona big scored decisive points against Ohio State and recorded 17 and 10 in key wins over Ohio State and Kentucky. And while attention centers on Caleb Wilson right now for North Carolina, Veesaar's interior scoring and rebounding have made him a difficult matchup, and those two together look like one of the best front courts in the entire country. And his continued production gives the Tar Heels a reliable front court presence as the season progresses and will hopefully help UNC stay at the top of the ACC. PJ Haggerty from Kansas State comes in at number 9 and has made a name for himself in the Big 12. Currently, he's averaging nearly 23 points per game, and the former Memphis standout has been Kansas State's offensive lifeline so far this year. And in games where Haggerty dipped below 20, the Wildcats have struggled to reach 70 points, which just shows his importance and what he brings on the offensive end of the floor. And with major matchups looming against Arizona, for instance, Haggerty's production will dictate Kansas State's ceiling as conference play continues to intensify. And rounding out the top 10 at number 10, I'm going with Robert Wright from BYU, as he has been the Cougars' missing playmaking piece, it seems. And while AJ Dybantsa has grabbed all the headlines and Richie Saunders has been one of the best scorers in the country, you also have Wright, who's averaging 16.5 points and a team best 5.5 assists so far. And his biggest moment definitely came at Madison Square Garden, where he drilled the game-winning 3 against Clemson. And now, the Baylor transfer has also recorded a double-double in a blowout win over Wisconsin, and he's just going to show how good of a player he is. And as Big 12 play continues to ramp up, Wright's composure and shot-making will remain vital for BYU's title aspirations, and he is just one of the big pieces of that Big 3 that they have there in Provo. At number 11, I have Malik Reneau from Miami, and he has sparked Miami's rebuild in a major way under the first-year head coach Jay Lucas. The Indiana transfer is posting career highs across the board, averaging 20.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and over a block a game. And he has delivered in key performances with 15 at Ole Miss and 22 against Georgetown. And as chemistry continues to grow alongside Trey Donaldson and his other Hurricane teammates, Reneau's interior scoring and physical presence just give Miami a chance to outperform expectations in ACC play. And I truly think he's going to lead the Hurricanes to an NCAA tournament appearance. Coming in at number 12 is Pryce Sandfort, and he has become Nebraska's offensive flamethrower. The Iowa transfer erupted for 32 points in a signature road win at Illinois and is averaging 16.5 points on nearly 50% shooting, and is one of the big reasons why this Nebraska team is having one of the best seasons we've ever seen from the Cornhuskers. He also dropped 28 in a shootout win over Oklahoma, and as Nebraska gets further into Big Ten play and continues to face tougher competition, Sandfort's shot making alongside Rink Mast will be critical in keeping the Huskers among the nation's most surprising teams, and I'm predicting he will help lead the Cornhuskers to their first ever NCAA tournament win this season. Duke Miles from Vanderbilt comes in at my number 13 in this ranking, and he has been the catalyst behind Vanderbilt's unbeaten start and continues to impress time and time again. Currently, he's averaging 17 points, 4.5 assists, and nearly 3 steals per game, and leads the Commodores in all 3 of those categories. And Vanderbilt's undefeated surge so far and national ranking reflects Miles' two-way impact, as he has been one of, if not the best players on that team right now. And with high-profile matchups approaching in SEC play, his ability to pressure defenses and create turnovers will be a major factor in Vanderbilt's staying power, and I really think this Commodores team is legit, and Duke Miles is a big reason why. At number 14, I have Indiana guard Lamar Wilkerson, as he has been such a perimeter weapon for the Hoosiers so far this season. The Sam Houston transfer is averaging 18 points per game while shooting over 40% from 3 so far, and his 44-point eruption with 10 made threes against Penn State showcased his scoring ceiling and just how good of an offensive player he is. And as defensive attention shifts toward Tucker DeVries at times, Wilkerson's spacing and shot making will remain a decisive factor in Indiana's offensive balance, and I think he's just going to keep helping Indiana win and hopefully finish near the top of the Big Ten. And coming in at number 15, I had to go with Tyson from Minnesota, as Tyson has redefined his role in Minnesota's offense right now. After starting 0 games at North Carolina last year, he's led the Gophers in scoring in 9 of their first 12 games. And Tyson exploded for a career-high 38 points this season and is on pace for a rare 50-40-80 shooting season. And his perimeter efficiency and the confidence that we have seen from him has transformed this Minnesota attack, and his continued consistency could make him one of the Big Ten's most reliable scorers and should continue to have a great season. But I also wanted to go over a few honorable mentions that I had, and to start, I have to say Merez Johnson and Ade Mara from Michigan, as they have also been huge parts to Michigan's success so far this season, alongside Yaxel Lendeborg. You also have Donovan Dent at UCLA, and although he hasn't been exactly what we thought, he definitely deserves to be on this list for his performance so far this year. Bryce Hopkins from St. John's, he's also been pretty crucial for the Johnnies, but I would like to see a little more from him. And then one of the biggest surprises for me has been Melvin Council from Kansas, and with Darren Peterson being injured and in and out of the lineup, Council has stepped up big for the Jayhawks and has been a big reason why they've had some success so far this year. But that wraps it up for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on my transfer rankings so far. Should I have someone higher or lower, or was there someone that I didn't even include that you think deserves to be mentioned? Also, if you enjoy the content, please consider dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.